of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call roll, Madam Secretary.
Councilman Anderson. Councilman Bryant.
Here.
Councilman Fuller.
Here.
Councilman Holloway.
Here.
Councilman Jolly.
Here.
Councilman True.
Here.
Mayor Miller.
Here, all present except Councilman Anderson. He had a work thing tonight, and we do have a quorum. You received the minutes from the February 24th, 2020 meeting and the April 2nd, 2020 meeting. Is there any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Jolly to be approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Holloway. Councilman Jolly, do you have anything?
No comment.
Councilman Holloway?
Nothing.
Anyone? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the ayes have it. Next item is presentation and approval of financials. This will be February and March both. Do I hear a motion that be approved?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman True. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Fuller. Councilman True.
I'd like to yield the floor to Ms. Ruby.
Ms. Ruby.
You have a lot of financial information. I'm not going to go over it all. You have February and March, so I'm going to do the March financials. If you have anything to ask about February, I'd be glad to answer that. Excuse me. In the general fund, at the end of March 31st, the balance was $851,498.92. Reserve and emergency, $169,308.53. TVA Foundation Fund, $17,386.54. Payroll Fund, $777.31. The Drug Fund, $37,305.50. State Street Aid, $115,579.39. The Small Drug Fund had a balance of $807.54. Special Revenue Fund, which is our grant fund, had a balance of $37,261.59. Capital projects, $33,499.23, and our capital investments at Raymond James, $361,270.97. You also have a copy of all the bank statements for both months. You have a copy of the summary financials for both months, and at the end of March, all the departments are within where they should be this time of year. Expenses look good, revenues look good. At the end of March, before COVID, we had already done pretty well with our property taxes, and I think I checked it about 3 or 4 days ago. We were at 95% on property tax collections, which is very well. You also have a copy of all checks that were written for both months. If you have a question, I'll be glad to answer it.
Councilman True, do you have anything further?
Nothing further.
Councilman Fuller.
Nothing.
Anyone else? Ms. Rupi, I see on this, we went from February on the ending balance from 465,000 to 851,000. What's the reason for that of the general fund?
I don't really know without looking. February is a big month for property taxes, and at the very end, we probably took in a pretty good chunk, and it didn't show up till March. The March deposit, probably the last deposit in February is always really big.
The second question is 95% of the tax, that's pretty, property tax, that's pretty good,
It's
isn't it?
always good, yes.
Is that what we ended up last year? It was like 96.5 or
97.
something?
And we've taken in some since then, so they'll keep coming in until June 30th. We'll end up, every year since I've been here, we've been in the upper 90s on tax collection in the city of Rockwood.
Any further discussion? Call roll.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is public comments, and since we don't have any public here because of the COVID-19, we'll save that for a later date. Committee reports from council. Do we have any tonight?
Mayor,
Councilman Holloway.
Mayor, just like to let everyone know that we've been using Zoom with RU to hold our meetings. We just had to we used it one time, so it worked out real good, so the people can use their iPad, see their meeting, that sort of thing, and it's still on right now, if they can do it.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have no old business tonight. Moving to new business, resolution number 20-10, a resolution for the city of Rockwood, Tennessee, authorizing the insurance, sale, and payment of capital outlay notes, extension 2020, in an amount not to exceed $450,000. We've got a guy here tonight that will explain it to us if you have any questions. If you remember 3 years ago, we took that line of capital outlay line of credit, we call it. They don't call it that, but that's what we use it for. And we took that out to pay for our grants, our matching part of our grants as they came in. So what happened is that it's at the end of it. So I'll let you go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, you have two resolutions on the agenda tonight. This first resolution is not to exceed $450,000. And so when June 1 rolls around here in just a little over a month, that note will mature out. And Becky has still been drawing funds down, and all the grant funds have not come back to pay that note back as of today. We'll see where we stand on June 1st. So this resolution would allow you to extend that note. Now, once we extend it, we won't be drawing on it anymore. It will basically be closed down, but this will give the city time to get the remaining of the grant funds in and pay back that note. The way it is set up, you're authorized to roll over up to $450,000. I'm not sure we'll have that much to roll over, but we'll roll over what we need to roll over. And then next fiscal year, you can work to pay that back. And technically, you have 3 fiscal years to pay that back. I'm not sure it'll take 3 fiscal years. That'll be a decision for y'all to make as you roll into the new budget, how much you want to pay back and how much grant money comes in. Also, I think there's a little bit of mismatch between the amount that you drew on and the amount of the grant funds that come in. So, for example, you get a $100,000 grant and it's an 80-20 match. 80% is grant and 20% you have to come up. Well, in that case, if you drew $100,000 to pay for the project, you're only going to have 80 to pay it back. So that happens a little bit over time too. Becky has been paying a lot of that stuff back, but I'm not sure where we're going to end up at the end of the fiscal year. So once again, this gives the city the opportunity to kind of figure that out over the next 3 years. If we need to extend it past that, we can, but I think 3 years should be plenty of time for you to pay that note back. And so that is the first resolution. The second resolution that you're going to consider, and I'll talk about. Okay.
All right, y'all understand what we're doing on this? We're just extending it so till we get our money in from the money we've already received from the state. Okay? Any further questions? Okay, do we have a motion that we approve this resolution 2010? Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Councilman Holloway, do you have anything?
I don't have it, been explained.
Councilman Bryant?
No, sir. No.
Anyone? Everybody knows where we are on this. Okay? Call her over.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is Resolution 2011, a resolution authorizing the insurance of interest-bearing general obligation capital outlay notes for the city of Rockwood not to exceed $1.5 million, making provisions for the insurance sale and payment of said notes, establishing the terms thereof, of the deposition of proceeds thereof, and providing for the levy of taxes necessary for the payment of the principal thereof and interest thereon. Do I hear a motion we get it approved so we can get it on the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Jolly. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Fuller. Councilman Jolly, you want to yield to?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So the second resolution that you're getting ready to consider is essentially the same thing you did 3 years ago. So we're setting this note up. Also, it will be a drawdown note, just like before. Anytime any grant money comes in or any capital needs that you need to assess that note, you can. And then when those grant funds come back, you can pay those back. Especially with the upcoming COVID-19 and all the cash flow issues and all this, this note could also serve as a backup source to pay for any capital projects that may come along that, and if you start running short of revenue, you can use the note to kind of get you through a cash flow issue if we have an issue like that. So the note is set up for $1.5 million. The note we did 3 years ago was a little bit bigger than that, although you didn't utilize all of it, so we thought $1.5 million would be an appropriate amount. To the extent we use all $1.5 million before the end of the 3-year period, we can reassess the situation. But I don't foresee us having that problem, at least in the near term. So just like before, this note will be set up at the same bank. We'll just do the same thing, put a new rate on the note, draw it down, and pay it back as the grants come in. So just like, we're just at the end of the 3-year period. So we'll do, this note will be good for 3 years, and we'll probably have this same conversation 3 years from now, and probably do something again along the same lines.
And remember now, this is half of what we got the first time. The first time we got the note that's in the resolution 2010, it was for 3 million, correct? This is 1.5, and we feel comfortable with that number. And this is just to finish the Tom Fuller Park and those type things, correct? Any further?
But in case of an emergency, you
Sure,
could use it.
COVID-19 or anything like that. Do you have anything else, Councilman Doe?
If we did have emergency or whatever, it would come in front of the council if this money was used for something else.
And it can only be used for capital items too.
Yes.
And this is like the one we have before, as we use it, then we pay it off, that amount's gone.
Right.
It's not like we pay it back and we can keep drawing from that.
No, once you draw it on one time, once you
When you
draw it
draw
one
up
time,
to
you pay back one
1.5
time.
million, you're done, correct?
Yeah, you pull out 1.5, you're done. You can't,
Yes.
if you pay it back the next day, we have to go back to this whole process again.
Yes. And again, if it's anything other than a matching grant that we've all agreed on, if it's any other kind of capital outlay, we will come before the council.
That's all I have.
Councilman Fuller?
It just sounds like we're doing some necessary financial house cleaning, so.
Anyone else? Call a roll.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Will we have anything else for him tonight, you think of? If you want to go, you're more than welcome to. I know you got family and you can spend time with them.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Next item is Resolution 2012, a resolution to quitclaim a portion of the unopened section of Winchester Avenue to Carson Cochran and to quitclaim another unopened portion to Sheila Nichols. This is an a street that goes beside, and as we've done on every other one, we've asked people on both sides if they wanted it. They've agreed. They've paid the survey. We will be able to get this unopened street back on the tax rolls. What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman True. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Councilman True?
Nothing.
Councilman Bryant?
No, sir.
Anyone? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson? Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is Resolution 2013, a resolution reappointing Gail Ike to the Rockwood Housing Authority Board for a term of March 28, 2020 through March 28, 2025. What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Fuller. Councilman Holloway.
This is reappointing her mayor. She's always willing to serve on any board we have to serve on. She does a good job.
Sure does. Councilman Fuller.
Gail does a good job with everything she does. so.
She sure does. Anyone else? Call a roll.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, the ayes have it. Next item, I'd like to ask you all, you know how I hate to do this, but I think this is very important, that we have a motion to waive the 5-day rule to consider Resolution 2014, which is a resolution asking Senator Yeager and Representative Calfee and Ron Travis to introduce legislation allowing Rome County schools to start after Labor Day because of the COVID-19. I'm looking for a motion to waive the 5-day rule.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 5-day rule.
Got a motion by Councilman Jolly that we waive the 5-day rule. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Any discussion? All those in favor of waiving the 5-day, go ahead and call the roll, I'm sorry.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. The item is Resolution 2014. It's a resolution where we're asking Senator Yeager and Representative Calfee and Travis to introduce legislation or get with the governor, ever how they need to do it, to allow Rome County schools to start after Labor Day. This is for safety measure concerning COVID-19, and the other reason is to hopefully get our economy rolling again, give it some time, because a lot of these kids work, a lot of these businesses need kids. I'm sure Sevier County and Pigeon Forge and those people will really be big on this. If you read there at the end on the resolution, and we're asking that the elected officials in Rome County and the cities of Harriman, Kingston, and Olive Springs, if we pass this tonight, please join in with us and pass one too to send it to them. I just think it's a smart move on our part as a county. I think it's a smart move on the state of Tennessee's part to, again, give us as much time to heal and get through this, plus we can help our economy. What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Jolly. Councilman Holloway.
I just think this is a good resolution, we all need to get behind there.
Councilman Jolly.
No comment.
Anyone else? Call the roll.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Jolly?
Yes.
Councilman True?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. One announcement we'll make before we move any further. Our May meeting, which was for May 25th, which is Memorial Day, we'll move it, if it's okay with everyone, to May 18th. May 18th. Next item is, I'll go ahead and let each of the councilmen, if you have any comments or anything, before I go over a bunch of stuff I've got for you all. Councilman Jolly, do you have anything tonight?
No.
Councilman Holloway?
Nothing.
Councilman Fuller?
No, sir.
Councilman True?
No, sir.
Councilman Bryant?
No, sir.
Okay, let me get started. First of all, I want to give you a COVID-19 update. If y'all have no problem, this is what I would like to do for the city starting on May 4th, which will be a week from today. I'd like to open City Hall back up to the public. We will have a first responder present to check temperatures of all visitors coming in for the first couple of weeks, or as long as we deem necessary. Anyone with a fever will not be allowed to enter. Several different types of COVID-19 signage will be put in place for visitors to follow. Social distancing still will be required, and employees will be encouraged to wear a mask when dealing with customers. In addition, customers are also encouraged to wear a mask if possible. But we'll keep our online Dropbox practices will still be there going. And what I'd like to do on all these things, if it's okay with the council, is that we regroup and look at it again on the 15th. Give us 2 good solid weeks to see how this works, and if we can do other things, then we'll start it back on the 15th. Fire and police, I want them to remain the same as they are now, closed to public. We're still working. You know, someone said, well, you're not answering police calls. Yes, we are. We're still working. We're just not opening our offices to the public, either fire or police. Court, according to Ms. Rupi, Judge Pemberton met with them today, and May 11th is the next scheduled court date. Judge Pemberton will schedule court by staggered appointments, and in order to help achieve social distancing, and the judge and staff will practice handling cases as much as possible by phone. And if we do have court attendees, they will be under the same standards that the citizens are under, and that's, we'll check their temperature and do the same things, okay? That's what she recommends, and I think that'll be okay. And if y'all have any problem with any of this, please speak up. We'll still leave the library the way it is now. You know, you call ahead, we'll get you a book ready, but let's keep it closed a couple more weeks and make sure we're okay, because we do have a lot of people go in and use those computers and things like that. The Rockwood garage, it'll still remain closed to the general public. Vendors have to make appointments, And employees will be divided into two groups like they are now. We keep them as separate as we can, and they'll work separate jobs as much as possible. And the person over it has a temperature gauge to check employees' temperature each day. Parks and Rec will keep the community center, will continue to keep it closed. The complex, as you know, is open for walking. That'll be the same. The gates are closed at night. The Forest Hills down there, the walking trail, we're still going to leave it open so people can walk. The tennis courts, what I'd like to do is I'd like to open the tennis courts but keep the basketball courts closed. And the reason, if you can play tennis and stay a good distance apart, you can't play basketball and stay apart. And then we'll take another look at it and hopefully open it all up on the 15th if everything's going good. But I thought this was a step to give some kids an opportunity to have something else to do. Golf course, we're going to keep the same rules we've had there. One person to a cart unless they live in the same household, and then they can be two to a cart. Airport, same way, limited hours. Garbage collection, exactly the same. And the Roane County Clerk Tag and Registration Services, on Wednesday, we still suspend that till further notice. I think that's all I've got on that. Any questions on anything we're doing or anything y'all like? Councilman True?
I'd like to keep an eye on the tennis courts to make sure people are playing tennis on there and not a group of people are convening to do other activities on it.
Sure, I agree 100%. Anyone else got anything else?
The swimming pool, is that gonna be decided later?
Yeah, we'll look into the swimming pool later. Let's get through this part of it and see where we are at that time. On the COVID-19, I really want to thank our first responders, our police officers, our firefighters. They've done a tremendous job. They took care of people. They took care of themselves too. But the other people I want to thank is our citizens. We've had 7 cases, or 8 in Roane County. And that's because we've done it the right way. We've obeyed what the governor said to do, and our people need to be commended for the job they've done. I mean, it's really, really impressive. And I appreciate every one of them. We just can't let up now. We're starting to get back in the flow of things, starting today. Some restaurants are open and stuff. We need to keep practicing this because we don't want to have to go through this again. But they've done a heck of a job, and I'm really proud of the way our citizens have acted during this time, and I appreciate every one of them. If you've not filled out, or your neighbor hadn't, or anybody you see, your census, we need to get these in. It's about 50% in the county, correct? And Rockwood's at about 45%. We need to do this. This decides how much money we get. This is very, very important. So anybody you see or talk to, tell them, fill it out. They can go online. I got something in the mail. Had my son go online and do it for us. But I'm just saying, we need to do this and we need to get people to do it. It's really, really important. I need to give you, first of all, our budget dates. We're going to have a work session the 2nd or 3rd week of May. We've got a schedule pretty well set, or Becky does, but we're not there yet, so we'll get with you soon. We didn't want to do it the first week of May. We're trying to get through this change and hope it goes smooth, but we will have our first budget work session the 2nd or 3rd week in May. On Wednesday, I've talked to the mayor from Harriman and Kingston. We met last Friday along with the city managers on some issues that we thought needed to be addressed, and we talked about them. Wednesday at 12 o'clock, we're going to meet in Harriman with our park and recreation people. If Dixie Youth does not have anything, we're going to ask all the county to combine together and let's try to play baseball. If things get better and get to rolling, let's have something for these kids this summer, and we're going to try to put together a county league and hopefully play some tournaments. You know, we split them up, alternate places play. We want to have a preseason tournament and a postseason tournament. And we'll still try to get in anywhere from 10 to 12, 14 games. We just think it'll be a good thing for our kids. We're going to meet Wednesday at lunch to see if we can put something together. If Dixie Youth doesn't have anything, we're going to try to put something together countywide, Midway, Olive Springs, Rockwood, Kingston, and Harriman, and try to get something going for our kids. So, because you know it's been pretty rough on them. So we're going to try to do that, but we'll know more after Dixie Youth meets, and we'll know more after Wednesday. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, I got a call, I think about first week in April, from our property assessor, and she wanted to let me know that our part of our appraisal cost would be 30, let me make sure I say this right, I've got it right here, I think it's $36,000, 36, 37, and what I asked her was if it was okay, could we pay that, since it's a 5-year appraisal period, over 5 years. I was informed that that's almost $37,000 a year for 5 years. That's $180-something thousand that we'd have to come up with over a 5-year period. It really bothered me, it really upset me, because I just couldn't believe it. When we met the other day, the other mayors, we talked about it. They feel the same way we do. We don't think it's fair. And we agreed, if this council, I just wanted to update you, that we're going to fight it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you do 30-something cents here, 30-something $1,000 here, it's 5 cents on the tax rate. And that's every year. I figured it up. If just Kingston, Rockwood, and Harriman, if we pay what they're asking us to pay, and I rounded off, we would pay the county in 5 years over $615,000. And I just feel like, in my opinion, and the other two mayors felt the same way, it's double taxation. We're being taxed twice. And we just think it's very unfair, and again, unless they change their mind when we talk, they're like us, they want to fight it. And we're trying to work something out, and we got a letter from, I think Friday, from the property assessor and the county mayor stating that this is how much it was and why it was that way, and I'll be happy to get y'all a copy of it. According to what I've read and what I've discovered, this so-called thing passed in '98. The way I understand it, I'm not for sure about that, but now all of a sudden they want us to pay it. And I just think it's so unfair to the citizens of Rockwood, and that's who we represent. And again, I use the word, it's double, in my opinion, it's double taxation for all cities. And I think I can speak for Mayor Neal and Mayor Beth. They both feel as strongly about it as I do. But I wanted to bring you all up to date because it was brought to our attention, and then we got the letter, I think, Ms. Ruby, it's Friday. We received an email with this letter stating that they agreed and all that. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And again, I just think it's very unfair. And I think not only is it unfair, but I think the timing is horrible. Here we are in the middle of COVID-19. We're all wondering how much money we've lost because all our business is shut down. And one of our county offices calls us right in the middle of it and says, oh yeah, you owe us $30-something thousand this year, and that's for 5 years, which is around $180,000. I just think the timing not only did I think it's unfair, I think the timing is horrible. So I just wanted to update you all and make sure you were aware of it. I did want you to know that the other mayors felt the same way I do. They don't think it's right, and they're like us, they want to fight it. So, just wanted to bring that to your attention. Is there anything else needs to come before mayor and council?
Mayor, let me ask you one.
Councilman Hallway.
On our street department, what hours are they working now? Street department guys?
I think it's 7 to 1. They're keeping them separated. They're not taking lunch, and they're keeping them and I may have this backwards, Councilman Hallway, but like the mowing crew meets down at the barn, and the street, the other paving and things like that, patching, they meet up here at the garage.
I think they're back to regular hours though.
Oh, are they back?
They're still separated, they start at 7 instead of 7:30.
Right.
So they quit 30 minutes earlier than they used to do.
Okay, so they are back
They
to
are
regular hours.
still.
I knew last week they were working through lunch and working to 1 o'clock and then going on, but now they're back to regular hours.
But they're still got a street crew and a
Mowing
mowing
crew.
crew, and they're staying separated.
Anything further? We brought them back a little earlier than we wanted to, but we felt like we had to. We were getting so far behind on our brush pickup because people don't have anything to do, so they're trimming and cutting all their trees and laying them out there, and it was all over this city, and we just felt like it was time to bring them back.
And it's spring cleanup.
Yeah, spring cleanup here, keep them separated, so, we just felt like if we didn't, we'd be so far behind, we'd be in trouble. Anything else need to come before mayor and council? Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Hallway, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryan, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, of course, it'll be none.
Forward. Joan, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Bone?
Here.
Mr. Meadows?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Penley?
Okay, we do have a quorum. There is no one but the employees here and Channel 12, Brad Jones of BBB Communications, who we welcome. We are, like everyone else, practicing social distancing, but we are broadcasting this, so as to comply with the state sunshine law. I'd like to go ahead and open the meeting. Normally we open with comments from the public. There is no one here, so we'll go straight to the approval of the February minutes. Gentlemen, the February minutes were in our packet. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I didn't have any, no.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, likewise. Okay, so those are approved. Item number 4 is approval of February and March financials. John, would you like to go over those?
February water sewer revenue was $325,584. Water sewer expenses, $266,581. Revenue exceeds expenses year-to-date of $187,074. Gas revenue was $464,754. Gas expenses excluding gas costs, $69,770. Revenue exceeds expenses year-to-date, $512,677. March.
Okay, Jenny, you heard her financial update. Any questions, comments? You know, the main thing I got out of that is obviously revenue exceeds expenses. Do we know where we stand as opposed to this time last year?
It's on your financials in your packet. It's a closest thing.
Pretty similar, I would say.
Water's a little ahead.
Yeah, water's a little ahead, gas is a little behind. Well, gas is decently behind, but that has to do with the winter that we had.
The lack of.
Right.
Right.
So that would be to be expected.
Okay, no questions, no comments? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the February, March financials?
Motion to
We
approve.
have a motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the February, March financial indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have that. Next up is item number 5, the general manager's report. Yeah.
Just a couple of things, most everything I have is on the agenda, but I would like to mention that we will be, I am starting the budget process, working on the capital improvement plan and starting to work on the operating budget. So the plan would be in May for you all to see the budget, make comments, and then we would approve it.
We don't have any workshops or anything toward helping, putting together the budget, or do you see the need for that?
I think, my thought is we'll use the May meeting kind of as a workshop and not have an additional meeting. But it depends, kind of depends on what our revenues start showing in the next few weeks, because we may have some tough decisions.
One thing we could do if need be is have a workshop prior to that meeting,
We could, yeah.
or a workshop at 6 o'clock, meeting at 7, or something like that.
Yeah,
If you feel like it's needed.
okay. But we will be on track, of course, to get that approved by July 1. That's the main thing I wanted to mention that I guess is not on the agenda. Our audit, I did get an email that our audit has finally been finalized, so it should be submitted to the state tomorrow or Thursday, before the 1st.
Then we wait for them to approve and then, or accept, or do they just keep it there?
They presented it to you all, so
Right.
you don't need to do any further action.
No, I know we don't, we wait for the state to go through it.
Right, right,
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I was saying.
yeah.
Anything else?
I didn't have anything else.
Okay. Any questions or comments for him? Next, under the business, on the agenda, under old business is our normal monthly I&I report. Under new business, item 7A is ratification and approval of emergency policy related to COVID-19. Kim,
Yeah.
would like to describe, tell everyone what occurred with that?
This has really started in early March, and then of course we did not have a March meeting. So I thought the easiest way to do it was to kind of give you all a scenario of how it progressed and what changes we did with our staff. Of course, City Hall has been closed to the public. Our clerks are alternating shifts. Our operations staff is alternating shifts. As of 2 weeks ago, we have been dispatching our operations personnel from home to try to keep them separated during the day. We've been able to respond to customer. I don't think our customers have seen a problem. We haven't gotten any complaints. Everything has gone very smoothly. Our plants are also on an alternating schedule and limited access to the building so that we can protect those with their operating license and keep them not exposed to something. There's fear of the sickness, but also fear of a quarantine of, a large portion of our staff, considering we have such a small staff. So, in this, basically, I wanted you all to ratify what I've already done. I know I was trying to keep you updated, but things were moving so quickly. I did my best. I'm not sure I was communicated as quickly as it was happening. But I have a policy in here that I would like for you all to approve, which would be in effect until May 31st. As of, I put a copy at your seat, City Council last night set up with their plan of operation for the next 2 to 4 weeks. So that's in front of you. It does involve our staff because it does involve opening up City Hall. My recommendation, because we don't know what's going to occur as things start opening up, is I would like to continue our staggered schedule for another 2 weeks, watch the numbers, see what happens. Because even, we have 3 clerks trained to take money. If they're all here at the same time and then we get quarantined, then we could be in trouble. So, I'd like to continue the alternating schedule a little bit longer. And that's basically what it boils down to. And it covers the general that if someone's diagnosed, they have to not be here. And also if someone comes into work symptomatic, then we, of course, would send them home. The employees have been very cooperative, and like I said, our customers have been very cooperative. So we're just all ready to have it over. But we're not there yet. So I would ask for ratify what I've done in the last 6 weeks, and then put this policy in place until May 31st. And then at our May meeting, we'll discuss again what's coming up.
But don't you want to
now.
extend it even another 2 weeks beyond May 1st? Or May 31st?
Well, May 31st, yeah. This will take us through the month of May, and then we'll have a meeting toward the end of May, and then decide is it ready. But I think 2 weeks, as far as our staggered schedule, may give us a good idea, and I can communicate with you all by email. And we'll just see what, right now, Roane County looks really, really good. Hopefully it will stay that way. So we'll just have to see where we stand.
Okay. Any questions, comments? If we could have a motion and a second on this, I'd like to discuss it just a little bit.
Okay, I'd make the motion to ratify what's been done and approve the continuing policy.
Second.
Give me a second. Just want to let y'all know that Kim didn't do this 100% on her own. She did consult with the employees and with me a little bit. And it's really worked. It's worked well. It's been pretty seamless. It's been a non-event in a lot of ways as far as the customer aspect goes. And we try to, I know that y'all try to post it on Facebook and keep everyone aware of what's going on with us mirroring what the city's done. It's really helped. Of course, we have to because we share an office space with them, but that's worked out really well. One thing is, and I think a lot of people are under the misconception or misunderstanding that come March the 1st, you know, everything, you know, the restaurants are at, you know, half capacity and then this and that. That's not really the case. That's guidance that we're getting from the governor's office. We talked about that in the budget committee today. So the governor's last executive order expires at the end of April. There has not been a new one put out there. We expect there to be one either tomorrow, maybe the next day, that will allow that, but at the stands right now, that's really not the case, but it is expected to occur. So hopefully that's what's going to happen, and we're going to ease back into somewhat of a regular schedule, and I think you're going out another couple of weeks. It's very wise because I think it's going to be one of those baby steps sort of things, but it's really, really worked good in our community, your staff, and everybody has, I can tell how things going by the frequency or lack thereof of phone calls. And really, I've not had anything, you know, anybody complaining about that, so it's worked really well. So, we have a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ratified. Good job. Item B is ratification and approval of credit card late fee policies related to COVID-19. Somewhat dovetails into this, but
Yeah, more of the financial side of it, because I tried to give you all some things that I was looking at to see where we're headed. We're gonna be losing some revenues, obviously, and I tried to pull out some numbers just to see because it's happened so fast. We don't have a lot of data yet, and obviously March revenue, you know, our financial report for March looks good, so. April is yet to be known. But I do think we have really increased the number of credit card payments that have come through. Waiving the fee has cost us, but I really think that we should continue this a little bit longer. Because the more we cut down on the traffic here at City Hall, the safer it is for our employees. So I think it comes out average $114 a day what we're spending on this credit card situation. I think that's a small price to pay to try to keep the traffic down. Maybe some of these customers will stay credit card customers later. I don't know. We've had some backdraft, not a huge amount, with the credit card part. Also, the late fees would be up to you all. Obviously, we've got some customers that are gonna be in trouble financially once this is over. A lot of utilities are just waiving the late fees. We did not put late fees on the last billing. The time before that, we did. So it was just this last billing that we did not put late fees on. For the most part, these customers that can't pay, adding the late fees not gonna make them pay because they can't pay. So that's really a board decision. It does have some financial impact to us, but I think that the delinquencies are gonna be what's gonna have a big impact in the long run. Tacking on 10%, I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. So I will leave that to you all. I do recommend that for the month of May that we go ahead and continue to waive the credit card fees, and then you all can decide what you want to do on the late fees.
Okay, and this is your recommendation that we ratify and approve this policy. Guys, heard Kim's recommendation. Give a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve in a second.
Second.
I'd like to add just a couple of things to this, and all I can add is we need to do kind of what other utilities are doing, and I think other utilities are doing somewhat the same thing. I know from my work standpoint, we're being very lenient as far as somebody needing an extension. It's basically being no questions asked, and we assume it's virus related, whether it is or not is really not our concern at the moment as far as my work goes. And I think maybe we can do that for at least another month here. And it'd be my recommendation to add to this that we don't bill late fees for May. Because I know a lot of times when we try to work with someone's past due, the person be backed out as a late fee anyway. And I think Ken makes a good point. And if they can't pay their payment, they can't pay the late fee anyway. It's not a deterrent at this point. I think it's the right thing to do.
I would agree with you too. It's not, this is something nobody has any control over.
Exactly. And I think it's the right thing to do. And I think we need to work with our customers because some of them are in situations they've never been in before. And I think if we'll help them as best we can while maintaining the integrity of the utility, I think we work with them.
I agree, and my thought is come back in May, we'll see if we're seeing an end to this, hopefully. Then at that point, we come up with a plan that we set up for those customers that are delinquent, so we don't continue pushing them in the hole. We set up some kind of payment plan or something to help them work through it. And we'll probably have to assign one of our personnel just to work with those customers. But I think that's a lot better way of dealing with it, and it's just like our chairman said, there's people in this situation who you wouldn't have dreamed would have been in this situation, so.
And I like the idea of assigning a particular person to that because they know what they've done with other people and they kind of get a handle on the situation. And you can just work through every day, whether it be John, whether it be Christie or whoever, and just kind of keep memos or notes or something on each account as to where they are and kind of what direction they're heading. And we'll and also direct them toward the ministerial association as well, if need be, because we've got money, and that's one thing we might want to think about and notice for gas only at this point. We might even take a portion of that and dedicate it toward water. I don't know, that's something we can think about.
We'd have to go back and see how that was all set up, because we'd have to redo the program. But,
Well, look into
I
it.
mean, I think, I agree with you. I think we're gonna have to take a fresh look at all of that.
Well-
But we need to see, we need to start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I think, before we.
Right,
But I think it's this is gonna be different than how we've dealt with other delinquent customers. Now, some
Right.
of them will overlap. There'll be some that are our normal delinquent customers that have the COVID issue also on top of that. So, but I think we're gonna have a different procedure. I think doing massive cutoffs is not gonna be a healthy way for the community. So we don't wanna do that.
Yeah, I just think we have to take a different perspective on this issue, and then we'll ease back into our normal operating procedure as time and the economy and all this other allows, because these are special circumstances, and hopefully it's just one thing I'm afraid.
And as you said, Ken, we'll see what happens with credit card payments down the road, but will Simply Bank keep taking those in the future, or is that limited?
They keep taking our payments.
Okay.
Yeah.
They take more.
They've been doing that since they started.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just worked out well. We've pushed more people that direction that
Sure.
wanted to pay cash. We have a tremendous amount of cash customers, so, and we're still getting more cash than I really am happy with in our night drop. People put cash in there, but we're trying to encourage them, if you've got cash, to go to the bank, because you get your receipt right then, and you know what you have. So we've fed quite a few customers over to Simply Bank, but yeah, they'll
Okay.
continue. So maybe the habits of those customers, they may find out that was easier because they're going to the bank anyway.
Sure.
So I think we're gonna see a trend with our customers. It's gonna be a little different. I'm not sure how it'll pan out.
Okay, we had a motion to approve this second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That is approved. Last item on the agenda is item D. No, I'm sorry, I skipped. The next item is item C, review and approval of sewer overflow response plan. Kim?
This is what happens when I'm left for myself. I'm updating some of our plans that needed to be updated. So this is our sewer overflow response plan that we use when we respond to an overflow or a bypass, or a backup in our sewer system. Really, we had updated it about 4 years ago, that I did a total kind of change in how it's set up, and tried to make it a little simpler to deal with. I know it wasn't the most interesting reading, but I would like to get you all's approval on that, and then we would have it in place and updated for TDEC. So,
Let me ask you a question. How often do we submit this to TDEC, or how often do they require this to be updated? Because I didn't see a date in there that said it'd be updated every 2, 3, 4 years, whatever.
they ask that we look at it annually, but they don't give a date for when it's revised.
Would it
So it's
be
been-
wise for us to put a date ourselves on it, so we would,
I think I included it annually.
I was looking at page, oh gosh,
It's been a few weeks ago.
I was looking at page 5, and it says that it would be reviewed periodically and updated.
Yeah. I think I changed that so it would,
I'd like to see, a date in there.
I might recommend that we do like every 2 years rather than annually.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. It really is not that, there's not a lot that changes once we get it.
It's not real time sensitive, is it?
Right, right,
So just a date to make sure that.
Yeah.
right.
Makes sense.
Okay, well, I'll add that in there.
Okay.
It looked pretty good, fine to me, and if I'm hearing you correctly, you recommend that we accept this as it is. If you like, just put that date in there. I'm good with
Yeah, I'll
it.
update the date and we'll review it.
Do you guys have any questions? Okay, you've heard Kim's recommendation and her submission on this. Do we have approval for the updated version of the sewer overflow flow response plan.
Motion to approve.
We have motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, very good. Last on our agenda is review of bids and award a contract for raw water intake pumping station improvements. Kim?
This project has been in the making we've been working on the engineering for it for almost a year.
They have to do the filter system with plating or something that we were talking about.
That was the filter renovation that we did, or rehab that we did. These are actually the pumps that pull the water from the lake and then send it to the water plant.
Gotcha.
There's a little building, you may or may not notice it, that sits right on the edge of the lake, not too far from the boat ramp down there. So we have 3 pumps in there now, none of which run at capacity. At least 2 out of 3 we've dated as over 40 years old. We have to kind of play with, to get the right flow, we have to kind of move and adjust pumps pretty often, more often than I'm really comfortable with. So I feel like we're on borrowed time with these pumps. Now this project also updates the electrical system that is tied to the raw water pump building, which is the problem that we've got in the main building also. But we're gonna redo the electrical. We're gonna replace those 3 pumps with 2 larger pumps. Should help us on efficiency, capacity, reliability. It'll be much better than what we've got now. But price is quite a bit. You can see the bids. We had a lot of interest in the project. We actually had 6 or 7 pick up. We only had 4 that turned in bids. Some of them did not bid because of the difficulty of the work, because they will have to change out these pumps while we still supply water every day. So they'll be working at night and they'll be fitting in that time in that 12-hour period that we're not pumping. So I think that's why we lost a couple of bidders, was the difficulty of that. Anyway, the low bid was $440,500 from W&O Construction out of Livingston, Tennessee. And 3 of the bids were in the same ballpark, so I feel like rebidding it, this is higher than our budget. Rebidding it probably wouldn't achieve a lot. And I think we need to, there's not really anything we can pull out of it because, you know, there's not bells and whistles on it. It's just basically the pumps, and it's just expensive. So I would recommend that we award it to W&O Construction for $440,500. I will be looking at the capital improvement project, which is going to have to, our budget, which is going to have to be adjusted somewhat because of this. So, but I think right now it's probably the most critical. One reason I also did not want to push it out is the time period to order these pumps is up to 6 months. So we need to get the contract signed, we need to get it moving so that we can start that clock ticking and get moving on it. So I would recommend approval of that.
You've heard Kim's approval. How about we have a motion to approve and a second, bring up the discussion. This is a pretty large purchase.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Kim, I've got a couple of questions. So this would take the 3 pumps down to 2, correct?
Right.
Would there be any interruption while the work is being done as far as bringing water into the power system?
No, we pump water about 10 to 12 hours a day, so they'll have to do the actual switch over at night. And the whole electrical system, they're building beside our current electrical system so that they can move it over, and then they'll take down the old. So we will be working with them to make sure there's no interruption.
Will there be new intakes also, Kim, or will they go in place of the pumps we have today?
There will be, some of the piping will be replaced.
Okay.
And then the new pumps, and basically the 2 new pumps will go in place of 2 of the pumps, and then we'll pull out that third pump,
Okay.
pull out everything.
But if something came up, you could put another pump in there.
You could, because we're not changing the building, there'll be a hole in the floor where that,
Okay.
where that pump is, so yeah, there is that potential. So even though it's a lot of money, it's not a total new facility, but it's new and what really is gonna make a difference, I think.
And I assume this was all reviewed and approved by Gresham Smith to make sure it met all of our bid specs.
Yes, and next month I'll be coming back to you probably for an inspection contract with Gresham Smith to make sure they'll have an electrical
Right.
person on site when we do some of this, but I'm still working with them on the cost of that.
How much have we had how much did we have budgeted for this?
I had 400,000 that was spanning over last year and this year. So we're about 40,000 over, and then we're gonna have inspection services on top of that. So, it's definitely going to shift some money from some other projects. But I think as far as priority, this is the one that's ready to go, and it is the most important right now.
Okay.
We'll
Any other-
probably push out one of our other pump station upgrades, which aren't quite as critical at the moment.
Any other questions or comments? Since this is a expenditure item, Joan, would you call the roll on this, please?
Mr. Bone?
Yes.
Mr. Meadows?
Yes.
And Mr. Moore?
Yes.
That passes. Thank you very much. We're at the end of our agenda and communication from board members. Ms. Moore, you have anything to?
I just, like I say, I appreciate all the hard work you've done and all the work of the employees and how they've taken care of the customers. I know our customers really like having water and sewer and natural gas, and it seems like it's worked out real good. Everybody's been safe, I think, so appreciate all the hard work.
And just while all this is going on, we've been very fortunate, and much of that is to you and everybody else's in the water company's efforts put into it. And congratulations on that, and thank you.
We'll stay the course.
Yes.
Well, I agree with Mr. Bone and Mr. Moore. I think, y'all have been very proactive and tried to stay ahead of this a little bit, and it's shown and it's worked, and I hope it continues to. I really think that it will. Now, one thing that I'd like to ask, just a real quick question, and we have visited this issue a little bit, is where are we with FEMA downtown regarding the flood issue and the certification of that area?
The engineering firm out of Franklin is still working on the study. They asked for some more survey work, and I think Jimmy Hill completed the survey work a week or so ago back to them to give them more. So they have told me that they're working on it.
You're talking about modeling and all that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're working on that model. So they're all working from home, but they said that they continue working on it.
Okay.
But I haven't seen them.
Maybe give them a call and just find out exactly where they are, because I don't want that to get lost in this shuffle, but I'm really happy and proud of what y'all have been able to do. The employees have done a great job, and really, I've not seen, it's been a non-issue as far as everybody else's lives have gone. I mean, they have nothing on their plate. They don't even deal with lack of water, lack of gas, or worrying about their buildings. We'll work with them as best we can. That being said, we're at the end of our agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Guys, thank you. Thank you very much. Brad, thank you.
Thank you.
Ready? I now call the council meeting to order. Call the roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller.
Here.
Jeff Bass.
Here.
Kenny Brown.
Here.
Jason Felker. Terry Holland.
Here.
Don Shelton.
Here.
Doug Ford.
Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
sir. Stand with, place the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joe, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we approach thy throne of grace and ask for mercies, strength and healing, renewed faith in you in view of this virus problem and all the folks that's working to heal it, and all the people that are suffering with the illness and the layoffs and all the difficulty. We pray that we would just turn our hearts and minds and souls to you, where that we would seek your guidance and your strength. All wonderful things come from you, and help us to understand that even in this hour of darkness that you can take these lemons and squeeze them and make lemonade. Help us to have faith in you, confidence in you that would happen. I pray also as we deliberate that you would give us wisdom, guide us as we make decisions that would bring honor and glory to you, be pleasing in your sight. We ask all these things in thy Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Review the minutes from the 5th. We'll go all the way back to the 5th of February, I believe. March, I'm sorry. Thanks for correction. Has everyone had a chance to review those and make comments or corrections?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes. I'll second.
A motion, we got a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
John Kelly.
Yes.
Okay. Citizens, we have citizens out there watching us today. If they got the word to watch us live, but you can mail in or call in your comments to us. Somebody will be here tomorrow at 435-7777. But if you don't, please feel free to drop us a line or call at your convenience. We'll still be operating tomorrow under a skeleton crew, so there won't be very many people here. The only update I've got that's going to cover is the things that we need to cover, and that's we're limited on time somewhat. I'll cover each council member has a copy of the census letter, and it's important that we get the census in. Each one of those has instructions, and so if you haven't found it online or how you filed and no one's contacted you on census, it would be a good idea to look into that. And I won't go into it, it's in detail. They're also hiring census workers. I think the lowest paid is like $18.75 an hour, and it goes up from that. So if you're in, make sure that we're judged on what we get and money and et cetera from the government by census and population of communities and areas. I think the council will hear from the city manager on some of the items. If he misses anything, I'll pick it up. It's up to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we all know the past few weeks have been very scary and unnerving to everyone in our community and in our nation. We recognize the fact that everything related to the coronavirus, COVID-19, is developing and changing rapidly. Communication will certainly be the key as we work to make it through it. I would like to set up individual meetings with each council member to give updates and have your input as we move forward. In your chairs, you will have found a sheet. If you would, circle the time and date that best fits your schedule so we can have a call. All 50 states have been declared a disaster area. That means that FEMA will soon be involved and the town may be eligible for federal funds when it becomes available. Also, as you know, we have lost the inmate crew due to the COVID-19 at the prison. They have locked them in. So the streets crew has been mowing the right-of-ways in the cemetery. This is taking up a majority of their time. In addition, the new tractor was delivered and it's been out mowing throughout the week. Also, you will find in your packet a copy of the debt obligation for the tractor. This is a requirement to be handed out to the city council as with any new debt obligation. And it looks like this. This is just for y'all to have and to read. And I need no actions on it, and it's for information only. And also in your packets is a list of all of the executive orders that the city has been going by, all the way up to number 22 for your reading on your spare time. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Miller.
I have nothing at this time, sir.
Okay, Mr. Brown? Oh, Mr. Bass?
I have nothing to do.
Sorry. Mr. Brown?
No, I just want to thank for the hard work we did over here at the garage, and there's still some more things that need to be done, but we'll get to that. I know everything's been kind of pushed. Have you got anything else, been able to do anything on that turn out there, for that portion that out on the road?
Yes.
Been able to come up with anything?
Yes, just the other day, the mayor and I met with the USDA, who sent an inspector down that is going to turn it over to the engineers to determine if it fits the qualifications in order to do a repair for them to do a matching fund on.
Okay.
You're talking about the creek bank side?
Yeah,
Okay, yes.
that curve right there.
Yes, yes.
Going on around.
In fact, we showed them the park and also above there, all the way up to Sammy's house.
What about, just hadn't heard anything, but what about Carmichael Park?
Carmichael Park, the rain has slowed down the process a little bit. All parks are closed right now due to COVID-19. So everything is completed with Carmichael Park. We have the bleachers ready to be put up for the baseball field. The baseball field has had the fencing put up last week through DN Fencing. So it's about finished up and ready for inspection.
I'm more concerned about the money. Are we still in the red on that, or are we worked that out, or do you know?
I think we've worked it out pretty good. We're in the red a little bit on it. We're not in black, but it has been worked out so far that they've been.
The grant part has to be in by a certain date, right?
And we met all those.
We met all that?
Met all those obligations.
All those obligations, so, okay. That's all I have, then. Thank you.
Okay. You're up, sir.
I'd like to mention to the camera that you said that we're going to have an hour. That's because of the cameraman, correct?
The show that comes on at 8 o'clock. You can keep going, it just won't be live.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to get that clear in case somebody's watching it. Are we going to be doing this for regular meetings from this point forward, or do we have a plan yet?
It's going to really be played by ear, and it really determines on how things keep going in the state as the numbers get better and everything starts to improve. As of right now, anybody watching can kind of tell that this isn't set up how it's normally set up. We're all doing our social distancing, and we're all watching the numbers of how many people are in here as well. But we'll probably do this for a little while until everything gets back to normal.
Is there a way we can do it? I had heard Clinton did theirs like on the phone, go to a meeting or some kind of program or something that somehow or another the crowd could participate too or something. I didn't really.
We were talking about that earlier, and Elk Ridge did that also, so, and the Rome County Commission did that, so we're going to talk with him about that after.
It wouldn't hurt to get something planned in case it winds up being drug out. We can kind of slim on info, and the city has too.
Just prior to coming here, I heard a presidential speech he was giving on live, and he was turning it over to the states as governors is ruling in fact on this anyway, and he's leaving it up to them how they want to open back up and go. They're going to go 3 phases, looks like. And first phase they can start any time, so we have to wait on the governor's ruling when he's going to start. Looks like they're going to start opening some of it up, but still be restricted.
How many street crew guys do we have?
Right now, we have the street supervisor, and we have Tony Brown, and Chuck's out sick, and Buster, the inmate guard, he's been furloughed because the inmates are no longer allowed to come out because of the COVID-19. So we have 2 full-time, and we've hired a temporary to help with the weed eating and mowing, Tony McGee. So now we have 3.
We're not using one out of the other department, or
Yes.
or what are they doing?
What we've been doing is, all right, How it's been set up is with the different scheduling right now with the COVID-19, our main goal is to protect the more vulnerable people in our crew, the people that are more higher risk of actually, if they were to contract it, that they would have the larger side effects from it because of conditions or age or whatever it is that makes them high risk. So the basic answer to that is the crews have all been, like for water distribution and sewer collections, they've been, instead of all meeting at the shop in the mornings, they stay home, and when we need them, we call them out. The whole world has slowed down. Everybody has stayed in. Everything has slowed down. And even getting simple stuff done has been a lot more difficult than it really ever has been because everybody's working from home all over the place. And I've been real lucky because whenever I talk to anyone, and I always program their number into my phone. So I have a lot of people's cell numbers, and I've been actually getting a lot of people at their house. But when it comes to our crew, they're just being dispatched out from their house as needed. They've taken trucks home and they wait to be called out. And some of the higher risk guys, if it's a situation where there may be people involved, they may not get called out or they may get called out. It really just depends on the need of it. We've been taking a lot of factors into consideration.
Well, the reason I asked that is they complain about the grass getting high here before long. At least they might know how the mechanics work of it or something.
You're exactly right about that. I remember that being one of the top priorities was the grass, and that's why we went on and get the part-time person to help with that.
And I guess if you could keep an eye on the East Tri-County trailer junkyard or something, I noticed it's still growing.
Okay.
East Tri-County where the trailers are?
There's one almost out in the street now, I guess.
Yeah, he's got it going. There was an inspector from Rockwood or Kingston, I'm sorry, Roane County, it does all of our 3 counties. He's gonna come up, we're gonna meet with him.
Okay, well, I guess that is it for now. It's hard to catch up.
You got a lot of homework there in front of you there.
And we've compiled a lot of information for everyone to look over. It's the same stuff that we've been going over ourselves. All the information that we really have is available. A lot of decisions.
I see a lot of government stuff.
That's basically it.
Yeah, I don't see much of our workings, you know.
No, everything's slowed down. Everything's slowed way down.
The water bills have been coming in through the mail and through the outside drop box, and we will ask the public to continue to do that. Taxes, we need to pay them by mail right now because the building is closed except for the people working in here. One person here today that's works tax office, but she's working in court and tax just to stay caught up. And but they should mail their taxes in, and we haven't adjusted that yet, but we might talk about that as Oak Ridge has. But their tax dates are different from ours, so we can't compare it exactly with Oak Ridge. But the water bills seem like they're coming in pretty well, and we've not turned anybody's water off. We've been accused of it, but it wasn't our water. It was Roane County or whoever. But
hopefully they pay their taxes on time, and
yeah,
it really happened before.
It'll help out. Sales tax is going to be lower, as you well know, probably. February, March was about right. No, I guess it was February was quite high, unusually high, so we can't compare it. But March is down about normal. April probably a lot lower, a little bit lower. So, other than that, we did set it?
Yeah.
Okay. Don?
Nothing this time. I had a few things, but it's later on.
Chief?
Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to finish up here before time. We discussed a lot of things. Fire chief here? No, he's not here, is he? Old business. Anyone have any old business? Any new business? We'll discuss, a discussion of spring cleanup will be our first item A on new business. But we've had some suggestions that's called in. One by a council member that would like to see us set up a couple dumpsters inside the across the bridge on the property, the city property, and have those citizens that can bring their own into the dumpsters. Occasionally, if somebody's had brush down for some time, depending on spring cleanup, we might make a call to one, 2, 3 houses. We can't service the whole town right now until we get some more help.
Is that at the city garage?
Yes, sir.
Could you kind of touch base on what not to throw in it?
No refrigerators, no couches, no major appliances, no cabinets, anything, just, what you clean up in your yard, leaves, bags of leaves would be okay, I guess. Things like that. The limbs we prefer to, if you got a pile them in, and then if you're, where you can, call and get a burn permit to burn them, but don't burn outside of, under wires or anything like that. Some people have got them stacked right under power lines, so they can't burn them, and they'll have to move them, and so we'll check on that on a as-can basis. We might pick some up, the limbs and stuff.
I think that's a good idea on them dumpsters,
Okay.
so you may have to watch, somebody may have to watch and see what they bring in.
Have a cleanup till we get all this other stuff, we go out and pick stuff up.
Okay, you mean delay it?
Yeah, in other words, we have, you want a date, if we keep, be out on until at least 1st of May, right?
Yeah, it'd be 1st of May.
After 1st of May, before we need to do anything.
Okay, we can delay that discussion next meeting then.
Because, if we don't have the employees too, right?
Right now, they would be bringing their own stuff in, and that might get out of hand, but we could get a lot of it.
It could.
It sounds like it'd be 100% mowing. We wouldn't have time for it when it was working.
Mowing's.
That's with 6 helpers that we don't have.
Mowing's involved.
Okay, you want to suggest that then? I made a suggestion, we discuss it, so we'll discuss it next meeting.
Yeah, because
I'm making a motion to move it to next
Well,
meeting.
from a parliamentary procedure standpoint, if no motion is made and seconded, then nothing is done, and the mayor put on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll have that on the agenda for next meeting. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you. The house at I believe it's 428 Kingston Avenue. We need to discuss if we want to tear that down ourselves or to contract it. And right now, I would suggest bidding it out. Let's see what kind of bid we can get on it, because they'll clean the lot up and get rid of the debris, and we don't have enough people right now to do it. And I'm not sure we got anything to do it safely with anyway. So.
That size house, you're looking at anywhere $25,000, $30,000. That's just my opinion, because I've seen, I know one individual that's tearing one down about the same size as that one, and $2,500. That's cleaned it up and everything, all in all.
Well, do we want to put out advertising for bids?
I don't think we got enough city employees tear that thing down and be safe about it.
We need to get it moving, but I also will have to have one more meeting with our lawyer. I'll show it to Joe, and he'll advise me on that, give me a hint whether I should see our lawyer or not. It seems we found, after the judge ordered it tore down and all that, Monday. When was the secretary here? Monday?
Yeah.
Okay. Monday, we discovered a deed transferred in July of 19. And we're gonna have to look at that. But right now,
We can't tear it down.
well, we could, I'm gonna have that, our lawyer look at that.
Do we not have a attachment on it by then? Now that they've been tore down
Well,
for 5, 6 years.
we can actually do both. We can start the bid process. It'll take me a little bit to get it written, advertised.
We'll have to bid it for 8 to 10 days.
And approved, and then have to come back in front of this board for approval. So a good amount of time will go by.
Is this the one that is gonna be ours, or?
That's the last one.
Property owners, or?
The house was awarded to us by the judge, not the property. So we'll have to either claim city taxes paid up on it, or make a deal that we tore the house down, you owe us land for the bill, because he said they would pay us plus 10%.
They need to be billed for it.
Yes.
I would agree.
Mhm.
I think the exact procedure is that whatever money the town spends to demolish the building is added to the tax roll and becomes a lien on the property, on the land. And so if the property taxes are, say, $100, because the building's not worth a whole lot, we've got $4,000 in demolition. The question then becomes who will buy the piece of property, because they'll have to pay $4,100 plus penalty and interest on all the property taxes and demolition costs. If the lot's worth $500 or $1,000 down there, then you might see it might be difficult for the property to be sold. And if taxes aren't paid on it in several years, it'll be put up for auction back tax sale, and the town will buy it into back tax sale, and the town will own it. You see, if the town buys it in for the amount of taxes and can't sell it for the amount of taxes, the town will take a slight loss. I say slight loss, maybe $2,000 or $3,000. It's hard to say exactly what it might bring in several years, but that would be just offhand the procedure that I think would be followed.
At least we break even on that deal.
Not necessarily if the town acquires the property and can't sell it for what's against it, the town would lose money.
So it'd be better than other option.
There is no other option.
Well, yeah, we let them keep it, we don't build them.
Well, yeah, we could tear it down and not attach the cost of demolition to the property tax bill. That would certainly work, but then the town never gets money back.
Right.
Here's what the judge's order reads. Comes down the town of Oliver Springs by a true council and moves this honorable court for an offer finding the property is subject to condemnation and removal in non-compliant buildings and debris and to further allow the town of Oliver Springs to remove and condemn said residence with any associated cost and an additional 10% per annum to be placed on a lien on the subject property, and further ask the town of Oliver Springs be reimbursed for its reasonable attorney fees against several defendants. And the judge approved that order.
That sounds good. This guy's family members need to tell him that he better start tearing it down if you don't want to
So,
have to go with that deal.
okay, so
So make a motion to put it out for bids,
to receive bids.
to receive bids on it.
Got a motion to receive bids for the tear down. Got a motion, got a second. Any more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelton.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay. Next is discuss and possibly approve an ordinance to amend the International Building Code and related codes for the town of Oliver Springs. We want them to review those and study those, right?
Well, there's a lot of them on here. It basically is, we're behind in our building codes, and we're only allowed to be 5 years behind. This gets us up to date. Glenn Gopher is the one that wrote this ordinance and the one that recommended us to do it, because he does our inspection, and this mirrors what our neighbors are doing. So it's time to update our building codes with the 2018, and that's what this is before you today.
And it also covers surrounding yards, et cetera, and all that in there, so.
Like if you have a tarp on a roof, this gives you authority to say you can't leave it there forever.
Now, is this gonna help, not delay growth, but help take care of the problems we keep complaining about, I guess, without being a speed reader, which I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in there. There's a specific ordinance in there about weeds and high grass.
I mean, I just hope it's not so stringent that you can't build anything either.
I haven't read this thing completely yet.
Well, it's got the electrical code, it's got everything in it.
Yeah, it's got
Looks like
things
it's on
like
front page.
HVAC.
I don't know if there's anything in there that
I mean, sometimes they get too detailed and they don't be.
What I believe is though, if we approve this, we don't need to be sitting here 2 months from now and going, well, grandfather this person in and grandfather that person in. Shouldn't be no grandfathering allowed to do it case by case if they've already started building or just about completed.
I think there's a rule on that, if you're 50% complete or less.
Could be.
should this go to planning first?
Yeah, it'll go to planning also. We're
It should go to
discussing.
them before we even,
Well, we can discuss,
Approve it.
let you know is it's here, and you all be looking at it too, because we're gonna approve whatever the planning commission first. I think the planning commission asked for this, by the way.
yeah, we did.
Who's going to enforce all this? We don't have a building inspector.
Yeah, Copeland.
Yeah.
Culver's our
He's
building
the whole county though, isn't he?
He's three
There's
counties.
3 of them.
That's
down
been
there.
my argument for years. We need our own, but I can never get no.
We don't have
support for
an
that.
actual official.
We don't have one, and we never did have a real building
Yeah,
inspector.
we used to have some good ones years ago. Stan
Mr. Beach
Hess.
is the last one I know.
Huh?
Not Ken, but his dad.
I was back in the days that Stan Hess was here. He was real good.
Well, the thing about it, if you get a building inspector, you're gonna pay him $50,000,
Yeah, but if you can find one that's retired, you don't need one every day.
No, and that's why we got Rowan County
Yeah.
doing it. And
I don't want to get into that.
they've got all the rules there, they've got the backing of lawyers, et cetera. And we've held 5 hearings here in the building with him.
But we can't even do nothing about what Terry's talking about the junkyard out there. See nothing done about it.
I think this will help you be able to take care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but it's just words. You still got to have an enforcer.
You're right.
Well, I'm sure we've got something to cover that mess out there now, or existing stuff.
Well, you have the enforcer, he held his hand up to speak.
And I'll keep it short. To answer y'all's question, we can enforce that, but at what financial cost? Because we pay the building inspector, I think, by an hour, and he's got to go out there and write the citations. If you file the paperwork in city court, all the city judge can do is fine him $50 per offense. And each charge each day is a separate offense. So if he wanted to really write the bill, they'd go out Monday and write the violation, and Tuesday and write the violation, Wednesday and write the violation, and so on and so on. If you want to put teeth in it, then you would hire your city attorney to file a lawsuit in Rowan County Chancery Court to get an injunction to make him clean it up, just like we are demolishing this Kingston Avenue property. Now, what's the cost of that? If you go into Chancery Court, I would say it'd be at least several $1,000s for the attorney's fees and court costs, which you may or may not be able to recover from the property owner, plus your building inspector time. So we've got the tools currently, the laws currently on our books. It's just having the will to commit the fiscal resources to enforce it. You make the motion to commit the dollars, budget, say $10,000 starting out, and see how far that goes, and get a second, and have the building inspector come up there, accompanied by the city attorney or working with the city attorney, and you ought to be able to get some action.
I wasn't talking about enforcing on your department. I was talking about another enforcement.
Okay, well, Mr. Holland was asking about the,
You talk about a threat?
4-lane property.
That you're going to enforce it? No,
What's the use in having all these regulations?
Well, you've had them ever since I've
Then you
known.
can't do nothing about it.
Ever since I've been
Well,
born,
you
we
can,
got
you
them.
can do something about it, you just have to spend the resources with the building inspector and the attorneys in the courts.
I understand that too.
And this will be updated, the updated rules.
So it's gonna go to planning commission first, right?
Well, yeah, planning commission's rude, but planning commission hadn't had a meeting in 3 months either, hasn't it, 2 months? But we need, it's laying there on his desk and my desk, and we need to get it to start to be looked at it, because now, we can mark it up now if you've got markups to it. And the planning commission, you're on the planning commission, you can bring up the markups that you see,
Yeah.
they can bring up the ones they see, then you guys vote on it and bring it back to us.
I haven't even read this thing.
It's lengthy.
I will.
And if you need to, people think we don't have those in our books, but we do. They're in there in the book, and they're Olive Springs codes. And it lists all the junk cars and no license for 2 years, and et cetera, and what you do with them. Now, this property down here on Kingston Avenue has been sitting there for 5, 6 years with a court order 2 years ago. Nobody dated it, nobody did anything with it. This could have been done. It's just, we gotta approach them and get them done. If we're gonna approach them, we've gotta approach each one of them with the law and enforce it. And it's gonna cost money to do that, and sometimes you get your money back, sometimes you'll lose more. It's just, whatever we wanna do, but right now, you're right, planning commission should review it. Then you guys have got plenty of time to look it over, and I'm surprised that, I thought we hadn't had it how many days we had it. We hadn't had it long. Have we?
We got a Monday.
Yeah. I mean, the office itself had it. How long we had it up here?
Oh, I've had time, I just hadn't done it.
But anyhow, that's what we're gonna do then, all right? Is that suggestion we give it to planning commission next meeting? That they bring it in and deliver it, poll, and then they do what, take what action they want to, then bring it back to council? Okay. We don't need a motion on that either, do we, Joe?
No.
It'll be noted in the minutes, so correct? Okay. Has anybody else got anything? We still got some time.
I got a comment on these fire or railroad rails or blockage. That's the awfulest job I've ever seen in my life.
He's got a letter into him with pictures and that we.
I want him to show that picture. He showed us the picture we got to the other people that are trying to put these stop crossings up and stuff like that.
We'll have to get a list of where they're going, because
well, you know, I'm just saying, he showed us a picture of a nice looking stop, you know, that was real. This thing over here is crooked. The signs is not even bolted down.
They're not high enough. I mean, they're too high.
But
The posts are too high.
you know, that
Curbs are a little bit too high.
for what they come in here and said they were wanting to do, you know.
Well, you know that was a contractor that did it. It wasn't the railroad. They contracted it.
He needs to fire that contract.
Well, they found it hard to get anything done, but the people down there telling them what they should do, our citizens. Them guys want to get out of town pretty quick. He's got a letter into them, you got pictures into them, and we're waiting on an answer, and when we get the answer, we'll let you know. They'll be back. Okay. Somebody's got to fix it.
I understand that. I'm just saying I will make sure that we've got something in plan with it, because I looked at it the other day, and it is.
I've looked at all of them. I looked at them a day or two, and I thought they would be back at that week, and they didn't.
When I first saw it, I thought, this must just be temporary until they can come back and actually fix it, but
they left.
They did a very bad job, I agree.
And it's one of those contractors collect his money, got all the time.
Well, is that gonna come out of the money that's supposed to be,
Because railroad's responsible for that contract.
Okay. Well, didn't the state supposed to come in there and inspect that too? But then they say that before they could do anything, that the state was gonna have to.
The road department's involved in that.
Road department's going, and I can't believe that they let something like that go by either.
I don't think it was inspected either one.
Corona sailed them up there.
It must be. The world has slowed down. And it looks like it's been there for 20 years, doesn't it? That's how bad it looks. I mean,
it's a terrible job.
I ain't saying you're not gonna have what they've got there.
The pavement wasn't cut, it was just busted up and left.
They banged those posts in with a backhoe.
And crooked and.
Yeah, it does not look good at all.
Well, we all agree that don't look good, and we all agree that he's working on it.
Yeah. And I hope they don't build the big ones, anything like that, because they don't, them trains will knock them down. When they come through there rattling around, and if they ain't secured no more than this thing is, it could come loose.
The arms.
Yeah, when that arms or whatever, how kind of devices they want to put on.
Oh, I'm sure that they'll be inspected.
I ain't sure of nothing. I ain't.
They'll bang them with a backhoe too, probably.
Yeah, I ain't sure of nothing on it.
Well, we'll see. I hope.
Well, I hope so too.
We might ought to hire Mr. Brown for inspector. No.
We had a whole, almost a house full of citizens too, that, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That had expressed their opinion of it, and, but I want to make sure that, you know, they said, well, they did good work, and so far that I ain't heard nothing about no good work. Now, you know, I'm talking about not necessarily the people here in town.
If we voted Jim, would you accept the lead on getting this corrected?
I'm sorry?
If we voted Jim, would you accept the lead on getting this corrected?
Well, if I had the choice, I would. I mean, you know, I'm just saying that I understand it's gonna take time, and
let's give Thomas the first
chance. I want that guy back down here that sold us this thing, and show him what they done.
That's who I emailed originally.
Yeah, I want him back down here.
He's got a copy of it.
And show, and let him put that in his next meeting with somebody and the citizens and whatever, and show them what they did here, and I guarantee you they'll send him out the road.
Okay.
I hate that for us, you know.
I hate it too. I don't like to see that. I don't like to see any work done that bad, even if it's temporary work. I don't like to see it done that bad. But Thomas is working on it, and we'll take a day or two.
I know we're kind of limited on what we can do, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we're not limited to what we can do to get them back out here.
Well,
It
that
just
part-
takes action. If we have to get the lawyer involved, we'll get the lawyer involved.
Yeah, all right, good.
That's cost, but we can get that cost down. Maybe he'll give us a good deal. Anybody else? Any more comments? Okay, again, we thank the citizens of the town for tolerating this slowdown we're going through. And you're,
I've told you and the city manager this, but you might want to check with Ms. Walker, but I rather suspect the court revenues will be down anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 for the fiscal year that ends June 30th of 2020, because we've missed 2 court dates here in April. We've got 3 scheduled in May and 3 scheduled in June. Then we're back to the normal scheduling. But with the coronavirus problem, the number of people that will appear probably in May and June will not be as strong for the virus reasons and other reasons. And then when people put their fines and costs on payments, that spreads it into next fiscal year to a degree as compared to this fiscal year. The second thing is that there may not be as many citations and whatnot written because the volume of traffic through the city is way down because of the sheltering in place. So see, in that regard, you could be short at the end of this fiscal year. I don't know that. I don't really keep up with it. But that could very well happen. And I'd also point out, too, that if the sales tax revenue is down substantially, that may put us short in the fall, or maybe by the end of this fiscal year, on the revenue. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
sales tax for March was about normal, but April is probably going to take a big hit.
We got the budget, too, that's got to be worked through. And see, we haven't had any budget meetings.
He's working on the budget for it to have a meeting.
Yeah.
He'll have that worked up to where we think we'll have to have everybody to review it line number.
I just don't want y'all to be hit with a surprise.
We're not.
I've been working on budget.
I know you have, but the councilman, because of the sheltered home, may not be as close to the budget situation as we.
No, but we're going to sit down and go through the budget prior to passing the budget. So everybody will have an opportunity to go through it as deep as we want to go through it.
Yeah, how it's basically set up right now is it's getting finished up right now with all the data entry and everything we're supposed to be. Then me and the mayor and Ramona and the chief are going to sit down. We're going to fine tune the budget, cut what we can cut, and then present it to the council. And it'll be a different budget than normal because there has been reduction in people spending, but we'll see. We'll see.
Aren't we supposed to get some relief money?
Yeah, but
From didn't we, the state get a bunch of money for
we get
lost revenue, like
We haven't got into that yet because the municipalities, well, not the municipalities, it's not in writing.
As of right now, municipalities aren't getting any money that I know of. I know that the only grant that I know of is you can pave roads with it and buy radios.
That's not that 100,000, I'm not talking about that.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought he's allocated so many $1 million to states for loss of revenue and I listened to so much of it. Huh?
That'll be when FEMA kicks in.
That when the FEMA kicks in?
Yeah.
We're declared us a disaster area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right now, it hasn't been mentioned in any correspondence that I've received.
And we have been keeping track with our hours.
Keeping up with what's extra, it's cost extra, and where
Have we had
that's
to lay anybody else, nobody, in other words, still got same amount of employees? Okay, I didn't know if we had to furlough some people or not.
Well, the only one we got furloughed is the inmate's guard.
Inmate,
That's right. Oh, that's the only one.
not the only one.
And that's how his contract's written.
What about you got anybody you had to lay off and?
I've had some out sick.
Sick, okay.
Oh, we got
some at home getting paid and hired a temporary guy.
Well, they're not at home, they're at home, they're not being dispatched out from the shop where they all sit in one big group. My fear was that if one of them brought it in, we would lose the entire crew. And with the risk that our crew has with pre-existing conditions, you may actually have a loss of life. So the idea was to protect the men so that they'd have a less likelihood of catching the coronavirus spreading amongst themselves. Majority of our crews are older.
You gotta, 8 of those guys has gotta be at Seward Water too, and
Yeah.
you can't have them out here cutting grass and working 2 shifts or whatever at the plants.
Yeah.
How many we've got in I&I? Is that something they do, just two?
2 people.
And what do they do?
They check stations, they do complaint calls, they do work orders.
Well, I mean, they're still getting out.
Oh, yeah, they're all getting out, but they're.
That's what
I
the way
just
you were
called
saying,
them.
it sounded like they were
Oh,
saying.
Well, we tied up too with the leak detector crew too.
Yeah, and then there's guys that with their crew, but how I have it set up is that they're dispatched from their house. So when I need them, I call them in, they have a truck, and they're just there until they're needed. And I didn't want them all sitting around each other in a group, around a picnic table in the shop, waiting on work orders to come in.
The town's big enough to be all 4 corners and be spread out.
And one of the things that I had noticed that before we had sent everybody to be away from each other is that they were doing it by just driving around town in the trucks. They were separating themselves by driving around because everybody's scared. It's not, to me, work's important to get a lot of work done, and that's how I've always been my whole life. But this has kind of flew in the face of that. This has kind of been different. We have to separate from each other. So it's a weird thing for me. It's hard for me to wrap my head around it too. I've been really trying to. But one thing I noticed was that the guys were scared and they were self-isolating by just driving around. And I thought, why are we doing that? Why don't we just dispatch them out from their houses instead of having them at the shop? So none of them have let me down. They've all answered. They've all done everything that I've ever asked them to do during this time. They've really done good.
Well, yeah, even like the cemetery, you should have 10 people there and still not within 20 feet of each other.
Yeah. We pulled in the I&I crew to help mow the cemetery, a guy from the sewer plant to mow the cemetery, because it's a very big job, and the streets crew to help with the cemetery. So it's been, everybody's done their part.
I mean, it looks good so far. I mean, I haven't heard any complaints. I'm just scared when it starts really heating up, it's going to really start rolling.
Well, on that note, though, I would like to give the city employees a hand for mowing it. They mowed it in one day. Mowed it and weeded it all in one day.
Well, you got the cemetery?
The cemetery.
No,
one
it's
day.
2 days.
One day.
I believe it's somewhere 2 days.
I believe it just started one day.
He been checking on it, I think. You live
I
up
believe
there.
Don, we'll be looking at it all day long. No,
Don lives across the street from him, don't he?
He lives up on the hill away from it.
He got them binoculars out, didn't he?
But I do agree, the men have been doing really well.
No, they done good, they really done good.
I think everybody has been, I think he's gonna bring an extra lady or 2 in this week to answer phones during the day, because he and I can't keep up with phone calls sometimes.
Yeah, it's been hard.
And, right now, they all come in, the office comes in on Monday and Friday anyway, to catch up on everything that's happened during the week. You know, we get ready on Monday, then catch up on Friday. And then what it's dropped on Saturday and Sunday in the boxes, they get that out and get it logged in the bank, etc. I think we did pretty good. I'm gonna mow myself if it comes to that. Use my own mower and I use my bush hog if I have to. If it comes down to a mess, I can do a lot of the 4-lane with my bush hog middle tractor, but and if it comes right down to it, we'll leave him here and answer the phone.
Well, we're taking care of that little park over yonder.
You are?
Well, Cecil does, me and Buford does.
Good, I still got that on top of my list in there to get that work done over there.
That's just,
I know, but some work needs to be done over there.
huh?
We got some work we need to do over there.
Yeah, well,
Anyhow, anybody else?
Well, as the virus starts to flatten out and it starts to have less and less cases, we'll start to bring more and more people back and get back to normal. I think that all this was sort of a new exercise in what to do, and no one really knew what to do. I mean, Mayor and I have been speaking to a lot of different mayors and a lot of conference calls, and there's no rule book for this.
Something y'all really need to look at the budget in case it happens, and it's a very good possibility it may. I haven't heard nothing, but you might have heard, there's always a chance that they may not be no more inmate crews.
Yes.
And if that happens,
Our budget's gonna change drastically.
your budget's gonna change.
Other things are gonna change too, such as taxes.
Exactly.
And they may be a good chance. Now, these people, the state is responsible for all these people. They're wards of the state, what I'm saying. And they're not gonna let them out.
As long as this virus.
As long as this stuff's going around, and it may be a while.
You're right.
So, it's something you need to look at. And that goes to all these other communities, where they're at, not only us.
Because those inmates have saved us a lot of money, and they do a lot.
You're looking at 3 to 4 bodies,
Yeah.
people you'd have to hire
Sometimes 6.
to continue up the services.
Yeah.
That's why we look at part-time help through the summer.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, that's true. You look at that.
Summer.
Still be expensive.
Summer's your
Just pay
biggest
them hourly
time
wage,
for the
it'll be
mowing
expensive.
anyway. It's not that much goes on in the winter.
More than we do, that's about all you're gonna have to have. So
Anybody else? Anybody else got anything they wanna bring before council? We got about a few more minutes.
I got one question on, I guess, the water board. They're still working on that pump station on Midway, aren't they?
Let's see here.
I see a lot of vehicles there recently.
The one of them's completed, and one of them is still being worked on. And I think the one on Midway, is completed actually.
No, that's the one they're rehabbing right now.
Is that the one they're doing? Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's the
didn't
one they're
think so.
rehabbing.
I have done some work out there, but
Because I wondered how much water went down the manholes out there this past weekend where they got them pumps stuck down in there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that dude's, what, 10 foot diameter, 40 feet deep? What could be that long to be fooling with?
Well,
Unless that dude's a lot deeper than I think it is.
well, what they repaired?
you're talking about rails, and you're talking about pumps, and you're talking about everything went in there.
Yeah, it's all brand new from the bottom up. So
Yeah.
new would be better than redoing it.
Well,
Yeah,
they had to redo some of the walls and cetera.
Yeah, they spray it with an epoxy, they put new rails in, new chains in, they put new wires in, they put new pumps in, new controls in, an emergency generator, new concrete to get the emergency generator out of the flood area. They had to do some bypassing, they had to put in, I believe, a meter. They also had to put in some new piping as well. So they've done a lot of work. It's going to be really beneficial to the sewer system when they're complete.
Yeah, they got 3 pumps sitting out there now running, 2 on the bridge and one there beside the lift station.
Yeah, to do a bypass.
Anything else? Chief, you got anything? Mr. Brown, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Anybody? Need a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Got a motion, got a second? Those in favor, stand up, please.
Many thanks for 100 great years. AM 1380.